Hi, I'm J-Lo at Walser Buick GMC in Bloomington.
I'm Grant from Walser Polar Chevrolet.
We're going to be doing some grilling for you today. We got Labor Days right around the corner, and we're looking forward to teaching you how to do some healthy grilling. All right, we're going to be doing some chicken wings today and then some shrimp skewers as our protein that we're going to be preparing. So first thing is I've got are the chicken wings here. When I purchase them, I like to purchase them as the full wing, and I break them down into flats and drummies. So first thing I did earlier, I dried these off with paper towels, and then I actually put them on these racks in my refrigerator for a half hour to an hour, and that just helps dry that skin out a little bit. We still want that skin to be crispy, so this is one of the best ways I've found, is just to make sure you have it dry as possible. When we flavor our chicken wings, you can use any seasoning you want. Some people like buffalo, some people like barbecue. I like to start with a little bit of an all-purpose seasoning on them and then add other seasonings, whether it's a Jamaican jerk seasoning or a barbecue seasoning or whatever you'd prefer there. So I'm gonna start out with just a little bit of a coat of a salt, pepper, garlic. Being healthy cooking, I thought I would leave the oil off. Now I can leave these with just salt, pepper, garlic if I want, and I will leave some for that. But then I am gonna take some of them and I'm gonna put a little bit of my barbecue rub that I have. Any kind of barbecue rub that you like works. And then when we're done, after we're done cooking them, we can leave them dry as a dry wing, which I really like, but we also can do a wet seasoning on them, which we will do some of that too. Okay, now the other half here, I'm gonna go ahead and do the Jamaican jerk seasoning, my daughter Grace's favorite. You know, obviously you wanna try to keep them as healthy as possible, and so don't need to go overboard, but there is no really getting it over seasoned or anything like that in my, would you agree, Grant? You're off
The perfect amount of seasoning is the amount of seasoning you use.
All right, so now I'm gonna let these rest, and while they rest and get that seasoning in there, I'm gonna start prepping my grill. In this case with the charcoal grill, first thing I'm gonna do is I've got a chimney full of charcoal here. I've got one of my fire starters. I'm gonna put that on the grate here, get that lit. Okay, and once that's going, we'll just put this right over here. We're gonna let that go until the fire starts coming out the top, and the top of these start getting a little white. So that'll take about 20 minutes.
Same process, wait till the fire's all the way through the top and they start getting white on the top and you're good to go. J-Lo's doing the proteins, and I'm gonna do some vegetables. So the two things I'm gonna do are portobello mushrooms with balsamic garlic and Parmesan on them, and I'm gonna do romaine hearts, grilled romaine hearts. So I'll start with the portobello mushrooms. Just wanna put them upside down in your pan here. All I do is I season them with a little bit of salt, pepper, garlic. I use this Boar's Night Out White Lightning stuff. This is probably my most used spice. You always wanna use your salt seasonings first, because you sprinkle salt on stuff and it starts to pull the moisture out and then it dissolves the salt and then sucks back into whatever you're putting it on. So you always do that and let it sit for a while. Then I take the romaine hearts, get off any loose leaves. Just want to cut them right in half like that. Put them in your pan. Sprinkle it with the White Lightning. And then you let that sit aside to start reacting, and then before I put it on the grill, I'll put the garlic and the butter on everything, and then we'll throw it on the grill.
Okay, so the charcoal on mine, I think yours too, we're white at the top, so we're ready to dump it out. Like so. Yeah. Now I'm gonna be trying to run mine for these chicken wings at a good 350, 400 degrees and let them get going. So I'm gonna let that settle a little bit.
So the next step for the mushrooms, put a little olive oil, margarine on there, a little bit on each one. So I got the butter on there. I'll just take a little bit of garlic on each one. All right. These are ready to go on the grill. Dialed in pretty much right at 350 degrees, which where you want it. I'm gonna take the pan and set it opposite where the coals are. Cover it back up, and then I will set my timer for 15 minutes, and then we'll put the Parmesan on.
So I'm gonna just set these all the way around the outer edge. Trick for me always is trying to remember where I put what flavor. I'll cover her up. Gonna leave those on for about 20 minutes and then probably flip them and go from there. Well, now I'm going to prep our shrimp skewers. They don't take long to cook, so I usually, once the wings are done, I'll throw those on. They take a couple minutes per side, but pretty simple. I've washed this shrimp. It's uncooked, regular deveined, and basically no rocket science here. You just take and skewer your shrimp. A lot of times I'll use butter and garlic, much like Grant used with his, but again, for the healthy eating, I thought I would use just a little bit of avocado spray. So you just spray a little bit there. It doesn't need to be real heavy. This just allows it to let that seasoning stick on. I'm using from Trader Joe's a little chili lime seasoning. So I just put that on lightly, and then we'll put them on the grill once the wings are closer to being done.
So the mushrooms look like they're cooking well, getting kind of soft. Cheese is melted, so I'm gonna take these off, let them sit and rest for a while. You wanna crank that up to about 400, 450 to do the romaine hearts. So you just put your hearts on indirect side, shut her up. That's only gonna go for about 5 minutes, and then we'll check them and see how they're cooking and go from there.
We are ready to put the shrimp skewers on here, so I'm going to put these on. I'm just gonna set them. See, I want these more in the direct heat, so it kind of works that I've had the middle of this open for us. All right, we'll close that up for a couple of minutes.
I'm gonna take those off. That one kind of fell apart. That happens, it's all right. We still love it. Parmesan cheese, you sprinkle a little Parmesan cheese on it. And this one calls for Caesar dressing, or you can do Italian. I'll do half and half. Then I'm just gonna throw it back on the cooker for just a minute or so, just to kind of get the cheese melted.
So I'm gonna pull some of the barbecue flavored chicken off. They have reached 195 degrees. So got good color on them. I believe the skin is gonna be nice and crispy. For these, I'm gonna add my buffalo seasoning. Like I said, it's my favorite, is just to do a little bit of buffalo seasoning. Dump that in there. And I have these nice containers that allow me to just cover it. You don't have to cover it, but this way I can get messy with it. And then we're gonna take and get those Jamaican jerk off. Actually, now those skewers are done. Professional would have a better platter here. I mean, geez. All right, we got a few left here. So now I'm gonna do these in that Jamaican jerk wet seasoning to go with the dry seasoning that was there. All right, so we got these all ready to go. We're gonna plate them up and we're gonna be able to eat them. The cool part about wings and shrimp and vegetables, there's no letting it rest. I'm sure you've heard of people letting things rest. When you're dealing with larger cuts of meat, steak, or pork butts and things like that, I highly recommend that you let them rest, let the juices, the moisture get back in there. But with this kind of stuff, it's let it cool down enough so you don't burn the top of your mouth and you're ready to rock and roll. All right, well, we've got her all done. Now it's time to eat. I got my daughter Grace. She must have been smelling it for a while here. So she is joining us. So let's see how we did. Very good. Healthy can taste good.